Welcome to the Reindl Report, a podcast out of San Diego, California that rewrites the definition of mediocrity.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Now I'm insulted.
So join along for the ride as Paul Reindl takes you through the world of sports with insight, interviews, and incredibly bad jokes.
It just seems like the people that are so butthurt about it.
Did you throw a butthurt out there?
Yeah, I said butthurt.
2005 calls. They want their turn back.
Yeah, walked right into that one.
Now, here's your host, Paul Reindl.
Well, hey there, welcome to another edition of the Reindl Report. Once again, trying something new. I have no idea if this is going to work or not. It appears as if everything is rolling right now. We are trying to broadcast live using YouTube. In the past, we've tried Facebook, the Facebook Live option, but then I realized not everybody's my Facebook friend. People have deleted me on their as their Facebook friend. Probably well-deserved there. I will give them that one. So we're trying this YouTube thing. This is being recorded on Thursday, April 28th, about 9:30 at night. I want to keep it relatively short here. April 28th. That is the first round of the draft. The draft has begun. The first round has concluded. And I just wanted to get some initial thoughts out there for all of my listeners, all of my fans, you guys. So we're trying this out. I'm here using the studio at work because, well, I'm here and I had nothing else to do after work. So I figured why not go through the draft, talk about, there's some surprises. There were some things that everybody expected to happen and they did. So I just wanted to go through that. Again, I sure hope this YouTube thing is working out. It looks like we got 3 viewers. If anybody's watching this right now and wants, it looks like there's a chat option here. This is pretty cool. I got to say, I'm already a fan of this. If it in fact is working, I hope everybody can listen in and hear the audio. I think last time when I did the Facebook feed, it was a 40-minute podcast, and I didn't even know that the screen was locked and it was turned up, sideways. So everybody's like twisting their neck to even watch. I don't think that's gonna work. That's happening this time. So we're gonna roll with it. If worst case scenario, we are recording on the audio, and we'll at least get that up on the reindlreport.blogspot.com. So once again, however you may be listening, whether it's live on Facebook or whether you are finding this through Twitter or on Facebook or anything else, YouTube, thanks for listening. So again, this is Thursday, April 28th, the evening of the 28th. The first round of the draft just concluded about an hour ago, and that is all that I'm going to be focusing on here is the NFL. So first round, first 2 picks, everybody kind of knew they were going to go quarterback. Remember, Los Angeles, I almost called them St. Louis. Los Angeles, they trade up. They get the number 1 pick. Nobody knows if it's going to be Goff from Cal or if it's going to be Wentz. And then Cleveland, they traded their 2nd pick to Philly. Going to piss off Sam Bradford. They're going to go with a quarterback. You knew that was going to happen. The first 2 quarterbacks, or the first 2 picks, were going to be quarterbacks, and that left our San Diego Chargers here with the number 1 pick, essentially. Sitting at 3, they basically have the number 1 pick. They could pick anybody they want. And we're going to get to that pick. But first, let's just go through the draft here. Okay, Los Angeles, the Rams, starting off their new season, the rebirth in L.A. They go with Jared Goff, quarterback from Cal. I think this is a great pick. I don't think you really could have gone wrong with either Wentz or with Goff. I really don't. They were both great quarterbacks. I love Jared Goff in Los Angeles. I think he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I think Los Angeles still has some weapons to provide him with. They got to go get those guys. Could be in this year's draft. We will find out. I don't know if they got the complete team yet. They got a hell of a running game, and we know their defense is great there with the Rams. I almost called them St. Louis again. I have not fully adapted to the fact that they are the Los Angeles Rams once again. But Jared Goff to LA. So that was almost a gimme then that Carson Wentz, North Dakota State, going to Philadelphia, number 2. Okay, quarterback. Everybody knew that was happening. That was just universally accepted. Boom, boom, quarterback. So that puts the Chargers at number 3 with basically the number 1 pick. They have their choice, which is awesome. They get to pick their guy, whoever they want. Whoever was the best player on their board, that is who they are able to draft. So what do they do? You know, for the last 24 hours, the talk was that they were going to get Ronnie Stanley, tackle out of Notre Dame. And based on my Twitter mentions after relaying the information that I was told by somebody who I have grown to really respect. He works for Bleacher Report, Matt Miller. Follow him on Twitter. I mean, the guy is a draft expert. That's what he does, is the NFL draft. And he told Kevin Acey, the guy that I work for, the guy that I produce and try to keep us, both employed here. He told us Ronnie Stanley, you could book that one. Chargers, Ronnie Stanley. Now, that put everybody in San Diego in an uproar because they're thinking, well, why not get Laramie Tunsil? Tackle out of Ole Miss. What's wrong with him? Well, there's a lot wrong with him. I mean, he has character issues, and that's what everybody was discussing. They weren't sure if his talent outweighed the character issues. So what happens literally 10 minutes before the draft? Laramie Tunsil tweets out a video of him ripping a bong with a gas mask on, pulls the gas mask off. Yeah, it's Laramie Tunsil. 10 minutes before the draft. Now, it was deleted immediately, and his people say that he was hacked and somebody blackmailed him or something like that. Look, I don't know. That very well could have happened. I don't think he would be that dumb to post that video right as he's about to go into the draft, get selected in the draft. Top 5 pick. Biggest moment of his life. He's not going to post that video while he's sitting there on the draft floor. So something happened, but Tunsil ends up dropping pretty significantly. We'll get to that in a minute. He drops into the teens, guys. And everybody thought San Diego was going to pick him at 3. There's Joey Bosa. There was Jalen Ramsey. A lot of people thought Jalen Ramsey would be just the overall best player in the draft, and that's where the Chargers were going to go at 3. Jalen Ramsey, Florida State. Cornerback, could play safety. There's DeForest Buckner out of Oregon, the defensive end. A lot of people thought maybe he would be the one that the Chargers, if they're going to go defense, it's got to be either Buckner or Ramsey. No other option. Well, there is a third option, and it's the one that the Chargers picked. They did not get an offensive lineman trying to protect Phillip Rivers, who's about 60 years old right now. He's got 8 kids that he's got to worry about. They're not going to protect him. Not this year, not in the draft. They aren't too concerned with up in the running game. Look, the running game, everything starts up front. Starts in the trenches. And they didn't go offensive linemen. So Melvin Gordon, Phillip Rivers, they're on their own again. Joey Bosa, the defensive end out of Ohio State, who was drawing comparisons to J.J. Watt. That's got to make Charger fans happy. And I think that's a great pick. San Diego with number 3. Again, I want to just call it the number 1 overall pick. Joey Bosa from Ohio State. He's going to be an impact player. The Chargers have already come out and said, see, right here, an email from the Chargers. Look, they're pumped on Bosa. And they should be. It's a good pick. I'm still bummed they didn't take Jalen Ramsey because I just think that he can be such a playmaker. I don't care about the lack of interceptions in college. I really don't. That guy is going to be an absolute playmaker as a rookie and for years to come in the NFL. I think he would have been the best pick. I don't think Joey Bosa is a bad pick. So that moves on to Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott. Look, I don't have a whole lot on him. I didn't watch a lot of him. Running back out of Ohio State. Okay, he's going to Dallas. They didn't have much of a running game last year. That was definitely an area for them to improve in. Ezekiel Elliott, number 4 to Dallas. Ohio State, back-to-back picks. Ohio State absolutely owned this draft. They did. So many Buckeyes. Six in the first 20. 6 Buckeyes. So that moves us to 5. Jacksonville, Jalen Ramsey. The guy that I wanted the Chargers to take at 3 goes to Jacksonville. He's going to be playing under Gus Bradley. I think that's a great pick for Jacksonville. I think all of a sudden their defense is looking a little bit more sharp. I am a fan of Jalen Ramsey. I think he's going to be an impact player immediately. I'm excited to see what he does there in Jacksonville. So Ronnie Stanley, offensive tackle from Notre Dame, the one that the Chargers were linked to over the last 24 hours or so, heavily linked to. Everybody's saying that's the guy. Done. Book it. Stanley, Chargers. He goes to Baltimore, offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley. So that brings the 49ers up at 7. Chip Kelly. Where did he coach in college? Somebody remind me. It looks like we got like 8 people viewing right now. Nobody's chatting in. Chip Kelly. Let's see. He was at Philadelphia. That didn't really work out. That's right. Oregon. Oregon had a really good player in the draft, didn't they? Oh, DeForest Buckner, defensive end from Oregon, back with Chip Kelly in San Francisco. Look, I think that's a good pick for them. I really do. I think DeForest Buckner has excellent abilities in the pass rush. I don't know too much about his rush defense, but I know that he can attack the quarterback. That is, with all the departures on that San Francisco defense that just a few years ago even was so dominant, I think that's a great move by them. I really do. So Tennessee. Tennessee had the number 2 pick, and they traded down. They traded down to 15. But then, today, they trade back up to 8. They get Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin, offensive tackle from Michigan State. Look, here's what happened there, okay? Tennessee, that was their guy. They knew going into this week, that was their guy. Conklin, that was the guy that they wanted to protect, in the words of Roger Goodell last year, Marcus Mariota. Look, they believe they have a franchise quarterback in Mariota. They believe that this guy is going to help bolster that offensive line. They trade down. They trade down to to 15, and they move back up. They got their guy. They added a few more picks into their draft. That's how it's done. Tennessee owned this thing. First round was just all Tennessee. Going to move right along. That brings, we're at 9. Chicago, Leonard Floyd, linebacker from Georgia. I don't know much about him. I'm not going to pretend that I do. Look, guys, I am a sports radio producer. I am a fan of sports. I am not paid to be a draft analyst, a draft expert. I'm doing this because I like it. I didn't get a whole lot of Leonard Floyd in my draft preparation. I apologize for that. Eli Apple, same thing. I will say this, he's got a hell of a name. He's going to the Giants, where they already have an Eli. They already have an Eli. Now they've got 2. Eli Apple, quarterback from Ohio State, going to New York. Vernon Hargreaves, the 3rd, cornerback out of Florida, going to Tampa Bay. I really should just have skipped on that. We're going to go, and that's what we're going to do, because I just sound stupid mentioning guys that I didn't watch any of their film. I don't know anything about them, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. So I'm just going to move along, because that's what you can do in a podcast, especially one with me where there's only like 5 people that even care that I'm saying this stuff anyways. So number 13, the Dolphins. Laramie Tunsil going to Miami. Drops all the way down to 13. This guy was predicted as the potentially number 1 player in the draft. Of course, when I say that, you have to remember that comes after the 2 quarterbacks going 1 and 2. The Chargers had the number 1 pick essentially at 3. Everybody thought Laramie Tunsil was that guy. all-pro potential. Going to be an absolute game changer for any offensive line that wants to take a chance on his character issues. Look, he was the one that was involved with Robert and Kandichi. Kandichi was, he did it. He was there. Take care of him. Look, Tunsil could get suspended. Who knows? And then with the video of him taking a bong rip, look, obviously he wasn't doing that right before the draft, but it was still on somebody's phone. It was clearly him. He still recorded it. Phone gets hacked, whatever. I mean, I take it with a grain of salt, sure, but I saw several things on my Twitter from reputable sources saying that team officials told them, due to the fact of that video getting leaked out, they passed on Tunsil. Either way, Miami gets a hell of an offensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Laremy Tunsil. I want to just keep moving right along here. Not a whole lot of big names left on the board, but there is one. Miles Jack out of UCLA. Now, Jack was facing a lot of criticism for essentially just abandoning his team. He wanted to rest up, train for the draft. He had a really gruesome knee injury. He had tore the MCL or the meniscus off his bone. And that's a huge red flag for a lot of teams. Matter of fact, it was apparently a red flag for 31 teams because remember, there are 32 teams. Patriots didn't have a pick in this year's draft, only had 31 draft picks. Miles Jack remains undrafted. He is still on the board. Most players, most draft experts are going to say he is the best available player right now. He was an absolute wild card heading into this draft. Miles Jack could have gone number 1, or I guess number 3 to the Chargers, anywhere in that top 10, or he could have not and got drafted at all, and that's exactly what happened. So where is he going to go? Look, I really thought Seattle might actually snag him at 31 there. They traded down from, I think, 26 to the Broncos, who we're going to get to their pick in a minute. Broncos move up, and they get somebody that they are going to really like. But I want to stay on Miles Jack here. Still undrafted. You know what? Here's where he's going to go. And I want to make sure I get the pick right, so I'm clicking it right here. Tomorrow, round 2. Cleveland, Tennessee, Dallas, maybe. 3rd pick in the 2nd round. Not happening. This is where Miles Jack's going to go. San Diego. He's coming back to Southern California. That's what I want to see. That's what I think is going to happen. He worked out for the Chargers. They were big on him. Chargers reportedly loved Miles Jack. Now, here's the deal with Miles Jack. Look, you're not drafting Miles Jack because you think that this guy in 8 years is going to be a multiple-time Pro Bowl player for you, just an anchor, a career-long, player on your team. Look, you're drafting him to impact your defense right now and for the next couple of years. Because that to quote a tweet that was going pretty viral over the last week or so, NFL draft or team official it was an unnamed source, saying that they view his knee as a ticking time bomb. Okay. So look, here's what you're doing. You're not drafting him to be somebody that you mold over the next several years, and in 5-6 years, he's a Pro Bowler. No. You're drafting him for right now, for the next couple of years, to see what that can do to your defense. The guy has tremendous talent. Nobody is going to deny that. Everybody believes that Miles Jack could be an impact player. Teams weren't willing to risk a first-round draft pick on a knee that could explode next week. OTAs, preseason, week 1, week 2, you never know. But if Miles Jack can stay healthy for even a couple of years and give you some quality years, he's worth the pick because he is that good. He is that talented. I would love to see him come into San Diego. He can play cornerback, safety, linebacker. He is a versatile player that will improve any defense that he steps onto immediately as a rookie. So I would love to see Miles Jack go there. Wrapping it up, look, we're going to keep it relatively short. I want to get through the first round here. Denver Broncos trade up with the Seattle Seahawks to 26. I knew that, right? 26. And you'll remember that they lost Peyton Manning to retirement. Everybody knew that was coming after the Super Bowl victory. Brock Osweiler signs the fat free agent contract, goes to Houston. So what's next for the Broncos? John Elway, he looked like he didn't know what he was doing. Boy, was I wrong for thinking that. He brings in Mark Sanchez. King of the butt fumble. I had to do it. My friend Roger's listening, and he's going to be happy I just mentioned that. I had to do it. It's the only thing I can think of with Mark Sanchez. It's the only thing anybody can think of when they think of Mark Sanchez. Let's be honest. They bring in Mark Sanchez. There's talks of them going after Colin Kaepernick. There was talks of them going after Johnny Manziel, who might be in prison here next fall. And you're just thinking, what? What are the Denver Broncos doing? How can they go from Peyton Manning, one of the all-time greats, who cares if he sucked last year? He still got the job done. They won the Super Bowl. They rode their defense, but they won the Super Bowl. They had the quarterback, the next franchise quarterback in Brock Osweiler. No, Brock Lobster, he's going down to Houston now. So what are they going to do? They trade up with the Seahawks, who I believe get the 94th pick, as well as they got the 31st pick in the first round. Look, that Seahawks pick in the third round, that's where they're going to pick an impact player. Third round is where all the talent comes from in the draft. Traditionally, over the years, more impact players come out of the third round than any other round. Fun fact of the day. And we know how the Seahawks draft in those mid-rounds anyways. Broncos move up and they get Paxton Lynch, quarterback out of Memphis. Look, I'm going to try to pull up his stats here because I don't want to sound like a complete idiot, but Paxton Lynch was regarded as one of the best quarterbacks out there last year. He had 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns. He's going to be the quarterback for Denver, and now Denver has a quarterback potentially for the next 10 years, a franchise quarterback. And John Elway is just sitting there. The Kermit the Frog drinking the tea, but that's none of my business. Yeah, it's John Elway right now. John Elway gets the last laugh all the time. There are words that were yelled at my place of business as that pick came in that I'm not going to repeat, because even though this isn't completely live and this is just a podcast and I can say whatever the hell I want, I don't want to say those naughty words on this podcast because it's the Reindl Report. We keep it clean here. Damn it. But there were a lot of curse words coming down from Charger fans here, because just when you thought the Broncos might be falling from their perch atop the AFC West, John Elway goes and does it again. Look, it's John Elway's world, guys. It is John Elway's world, and we're just lucky enough to be alive in it. All right, we're up to 25 minutes right now. I'm going to wrap it up. That's it. That is it for tonight. Special edition, impromptu decision to record this edition of the Reindl Report. As you can probably tell, because I'm just rambling on. That's what you do on a podcast. You ramble. You have some fun. This was fun for me. First round of the draft had a lot of surprises. Had a few that everybody expected. A lot of surprises. Once the first trade comes down, and I think the 8th pick, boom, like 2 more right after that. I love the draft. It was so much fun to watch that. I'm excited to watch the rest of the weekend. Very excited to see where the Chargers go with their 4th pick tomorrow in the 2nd round. But I already know what's going to happen. It's going to be Miles Jack, baby. And I'm going to save that clip of me predicting that, just in case, on the off chance that I actually am right. I think I got 5 picks in the first round. I have to go back and look. But on the off chance that I am right, I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that. So, once again, thanks for listening, however you were listening, whether you were listening to a podcast at a future date, whether you are watching on YouTube on the live stream, however this worked. I believe everything looks like it was going. Oh, here we go. We got a couple of Chargers fan. Yeah, I am a Chargers fan. What are my thoughts on the upcoming MLS draft? That is from Brycetown. Look, this is the Reindl Report. We're not going to get into a lot of foreign kickball on the Reindl Report, but thanks for listening. I do appreciate that. That's going to wrap it up. So however you were listening, whether it was through the YouTube, whether you found that on Facebook, on Twitter, or if you're listening to this at a later time. Again, this was recorded right after the draft, just an hour after the NFL draft on Thursday, April 28th, about 9:30 at night. We're going to get back to this pretty soon here. I've got some plans in the work for the Reindl Report, a couple of special guests lined up that I'm excited about. Got to get into baseball. Thought about doing it tonight, but I'm tired. I got to go home. I got to get up early tomorrow. Got to start talking about baseball. Things are starting to unveil themselves at this point in the season. Things are starting to show up, and trends are happening. They say the season can't be won in April, and they're right. But damn it can be lost. Ask Padres fans. It's just not looking good for us down here already. So I'm going to get to that probably next week. But however you may have been listening, I do want to thank you. Again, big surprise out of the draft. Chargers, Joey Bosa, number 3 overall. Not a lot of people saw that one coming. It happened, and he's going to be an impact player for this Chargers defense here immediately. Again, J.J. Watt comparisons. That's who Joey Bosa was drawing. Now they're going to go out, and they're going to get Myles Jack, and this defense is going to be sick. Just watch. All right. That's going to do it for me. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. We will talk to you next week. I'm Paul Reindl. You can follow me on Twitter at the Polar Bear SD, ThePaularBearsD. And these podcasts are all archived at thereindlreport.blogspot.com. I will add that information in for you. Thanks for tuning in.